Hello and welcome to the guest portion of DC Figures and Collectibles. I'm Tyler G, and I'm joined again by Scott. And our guest is the incredibly big and continuing to always get bigger uh, creator of Extreme Sets, Joe. And we have had him on before, and we are happy that he has returned. And we have a lot to talk about in terms of new product with him. And first, we want to ask Joe, how are you doing? It's been a while since the last time we spoke.
Thank you so much for having me on. I know time flies by so quickly.
Yeah.
You hardly even notice it's this almost December. I'm bumping Christmas music right now.
Well, you're definitely getting in the mood.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been a big ride. We just had our fourth kid, which is
Oh,
another
congratulations.
chapter. Thank you.
That's awesome, man.
Oh man, it's been hard around the house. Taking care
I
of four of
bet.
them now.
4 kids and an ever continuing and expanding background and now accessories and furniture empire.
Yeah, that's right. That is correct. That is correct.
Yeah.
Now,
So
go for it, Scott.
go start carry on telling you. It's all good.
Well, I want to. You have a lot of new stuff coming out, and you have a lot of stuff up for pre-order right now. And I want to first give you a chance to talk a little bit about the usual, the classic Extreme Set stuff that's coming up for pre-order soon.
Right. So ideally, wave. Is it 8? I think it's 8. Yeah, it's
It
wave
says, yeah,
8.
wave 8.
If I believe so. Yeah, we're actually creeping up on 10, which I could have never imagined years ago. We're almost there. I have to definitely do something very special for 10. But yeah, Wave 8 is taking a complete different turn in direction as far as three-dimensional pieces. Perfect example would be the cabin pop-up, which I think is one of the best products ever created. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. I had no idea the bar would do so well in sales as well. I guess a lot of people are interested in the bar scenes. We could just go on and on with the list of the products. Another one, which is unreal, is one of my personal dreams that came true, is the Arena pop-up, which is the 3.0.
Yes.
That was the first product that I ever started with, which was a complete three-dimensional piece, but that never got made, and it got converted into a flat piece. Now it's getting to the point where it was originally supposed to be, which is fully 3D with 3D fans on the floor, the ground level, and then you got the VIP boxes popping out as well, just giving you more depth and more definition.
Well, I think testimony to how good the latest releases are. You mentioned 3 very outstanding sets there, but my favourite out of the new wave is actually the Building 5.0 with the arcade. The arcade decorations. Oh man, it looks so good. I really want to get that.
Yeah, the arcade is another one, right?
Yeah.
The buildings just keep on popping out. People are buying them. People love the building scenes, especially because you could, open them up, and now you have an entire street of a landscape. They're great. The rooftop, and I'm trying to incorporate more and more the staircases within the buildings that I'm releasing, because staircase is something that everybody loves to use. And whether you use it within the building or you separate it, you could do whatever you want. It's a beautiful three-dimensional piece.
Especially since the Joker movie as well.
Staircases.
Staircases are a very, very important arsenal to have as a toy photographer now, yeah.
Yeah, speaking of that and the buildings, I definitely saw a lot of recreations of the Joker stair scene with your buildings, your Extreme Set buildings in the background. And
I know. I tend to zoom in on some of the images that people take. I'm like, is that my staircase? They're using it's funny, and I'm like, oh, that's the one, yeah. And especially from the subway terminal, that one was a wider staircase. I believe it was like 8 inches wide compared to the current ones for the buildings that are like 5. Things are moving forward. A lot of more 3D parts are coming, but I have to be very careful with how much 3D I want to incorporate, because I do know for a fact that people tend to stay away from 3D pieces too. You know what I'm saying? Because once you put them together, it's kind of, you don't really necessarily want to take them apart. You know what I mean? To stack them away. So just little parts of 3D, and then the rest of it being flat. It works really well for the consumer, because at the end of the day, they could tuck it away and fold the panels and put them away the way they come out of the box and for storage purposes. Yeah.
So forgive me if I'm wrong. This is something that you started out as a hobby, and now that it's developed into this massive full-scale business. And what's it like seeing professional photographers use extreme sets? And is that something that you have immense pride when you see people taking amazing pictures of these sets?
Yeah, it's really rewarding. Just by looking at that, I have I used to go to Michael's when I was a kid and try to buy supplies and go to the 99-cent store, search for little lights or little backdrops or just weird stuff, whatever I could fit in to create an atmosphere and environment for the action figures. I guess you could say I've always had the eye for what's around the action figures, the stages and so on. Yeah, I mean, nowadays looking at all these professionals just not needing to do what I did when I was when I was a teenager, going to Michael's and trying to put something together, and instead they just purchase something, and out of nowhere you get this most beautiful backdrop, and especially because the way they light it, they make it look so realistic. Yeah, I mean, it's unreal. It's at times because I'm so busy, I've gotten to a point where I don't fully enjoy the art that is being put out there, because it's just it's just another day. Just move forward. Man, but it's been fun. It's been a good ride.
Now, speaking of the pro photography and being cool, like seeing that sort of stuff pop up, I want to ask you, have you gotten a chance to see any of Big Bad Toy Store's ads that run like on YouTube?
I have. It's actually popping up.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, it's an entire world, right? All these different companies, action figures, they all incorporated within Extreme Sets pop-ups, and that's the beauty of it. It just goes to show how 5-6 years of producing pop-ups, and now you have just all kinds of atmospheres that you could throw action figures into. I mean, subway, underground, above ground, buildings, rooftops, freaking spaceships, and
Transformers,
whatever, Transformers, and we get so many emails for Transformers, which is, I mean, it's one of the biggest lasting, action figures ever that just keep on coming. But I mean, it's so hard to constantly put out, Transformers pop-ups.
Hey, that's not a Transformers pop-up. That's a Watchtower.
Yeah,
that's a Justice League Watchtower. I get reminded that it isn't every time I do pictures of it. But I love that set. It's fantastic. I also loved, shout out to the Dojo set as well. That looks so good. We recently did a review of the BTS episode, Day of the Samurai, and it just reminds me of that so much. The early days of Bruce Wayne fighting in Japan looks fantastic.
Are you talking about the first Dojo or the second one?
Oh, both, man. They're both fantastic.
Yeah, the first one was like more Bruce Lee. It's like basically Bruce Lee. So anything else you can do with it. But now it's come to a point where I see so much of the Street Fighters and the Mortal Kombat being produced, which is, I can't even keep up with it. Now they're releasing them in variations of colors. It's like, who spends $600 on just Bison? You know what I mean? It's a crazy world. So for me to put out a Dojo that's cost, I don't know, $45, $40, and you could create all of these, amazing art images. It's unreal. So that was the direction I was taking with the new one. I was like, let's move away from the old school, classic look. Let's get it into more gruddy and like a bloody environment without really using blood,
Yeah, you can use like stuff like the Ninja Batman, and you've got that Wolverine as well that Mezco did. Like so that works really nicely with him. I'd love to get the Ninja Batman just to use in that set. It looks fantastic.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
And in terms of and always pushing the boundaries of doing new things, we already talked about, and I was looking and scrolling through a lot of the new products you're talking about. And I mean, this is, I think, perfect timing for Christmas as well. I know I'm going to be having a lot of these on my Christmas list coming up. And
Yeah, I was definitely pushing to have them by Christmas, but unfortunately, it's very hard to manufacture because I mean, I've come a long way from where I used to be. Before I wasn't producing as many as pop-outs. Now I got the 1/18 scale too. So, everything has grown to a point where you need more you have to give the company more attention, and it takes a lot more labor just to put out a wave. I mean, with that being said, for example, I'm adding the instruction manuals. You know what I mean? Within it, because everybody complains about that. There's no instructions, man. There's no instructions. Like I would, because I started off with just flat panels. I'm like, nobody
yeah,
needs a freaking instruction manual to put flat panels in stuff in. But now, it's moved into a direction where you got all these three-dimensional pieces. And that in the past, I was like, okay, I'll get away with it by doing videos.
yeah,
But now it's really, especially with Amazon, selling on Amazon as well. You know how it is.
nice.
I have a love and hate relationship with Amazon because,
I bet.
Amazon is great. It does well because there's a lot of eyes on it. But the returns and the complaints and, your account is going to be shut down. Your warning, because people just go and say whatever they want and do whatever they want, without really contacting the seller first. They're like, missing parts. This is not a missing part. Instruction manual is not a missing part. You know what I'm saying? So that gives you a red flag right away. So I'm like, I really need to put out the instruction, which I'm doing now. That's additional labor to do, like an IKEA freaking manual that you need to put this thing together. Which, I mean, granted, for the new products, you definitely need it. I mean, what is it called? The buildings and the rooftops and the cabin and all that stuff. You definitely need the instruction manual, which is good. So now it's going to have it. All the new products are going to have instruction manuals.
Nice. Well, in terms of even the stuff that you have just on your site in general, I know that I'm going to be asking for a bunch of stuff, especially like we talked about the Joker movie come out. You're the one. Who else? Where else can you find a subway train other than Extreme Set? So I'm definitely going to be asking for that for Christmas, and probably a few other ones because I need to load up on new diorama sets. That's for sure. And then you've been putting up and you have on your site right now accessories and furniture. Now, can you talk to us a little bit about how you decided to move into that, into all of that?
Well, I mean, that was, I guess I saw that coming many years ago, but I just didn't have, the capacity to do it. Now that everything is slowly growing and there's more eyes on the company and, the consumers are, they've multiplied. It's like a no-brainer when it comes down to furniture pieces. It's something that it goes hand in hand with the dioramas, and I see more and more people let's say from 2 years ago to now, like within most of the shops, you get to see some type of furniture or some kind of cup or a bottle being incorporated like a real life image. It really pushes the envelope when it comes down to adding three-dimensional pieces to these backdrops. So I'm like, let's do it. Let's give it a shot. Most of the stuff that I have on the site right now, I'm doing test runs for a lot of them to see how they're doing before I really pull the trigger on really multiplying them. 3 pieces that are definitely going to be available like crazy, which is the same ones that Big Bad Toy Store has them too. Is the 2 furniture sets and the large cabin. Is it the cabin? No, I think it's a closet or something like that. Those are gonna come hopefully before Christmas.
Nice.
They're en route to be here before Christmas, and we're gonna have tons of them. And beyond that, I'm thinking about doing furniture pieces that are gonna be like rusted or have dirt on them. So that's the direction that we'll also be going into.
Now, Scott, keep that there. Go back. That is like the perfect what I would all want to buy in one picture. If you could, I want that vintage couch for the Joker talk show, and I would like that Subway diorama. That is so perfect. And that's the thing I like. I mean, not only are you like what you said, does it take it to a different to just a whole nother level, adding that to the picture, but I mean, people that are shopping and the people that consumer, it's nice to go to extreme sets and you have everything there in one spot. We don't have to go to, you to get just a diorama, then maybe hunt different Michaels to get the little accessories. Like,
Right.
you're
And the
making it
shipping
so
becomes cheaper
convenient.
too. And the shipper becomes too, because when you're buying a diorama, it's easy to add a bunch of accessories into the package. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun. I mean, it's great. Having just giving the action figure something to interact with just completely changes the image. That's what I've noticed. Even in the foreground or background, just blurred out a little bit, it just creates a dynamic to the image of realism, and that's what I have really been into all my life. Just realism.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised how much I drive around, look at buildings just before I come to terms with myself of the design standpoint of what the kind of direction I will be taking for a building. I'm like, I like that building. I like the engrave. I like the texture on this wall, and then I have to come back and create it.
No, that totally makes sense, especially when you look at how good your product is. Now, in terms of the accessories, do you yourself make them? Do you have to hire people to make them? Like, how do you go about that?
Well, I'm kind of, like I said, the test runs are stuff that I've basically in contracts with a bunch of manufacturers
Oh, okay, okay.
that are producing these. For the couch and stuff like that, it's directly like I'm picking the fabric. Like
That's awesome.
I'm buying a couch for my living room at home. You know what I mean? They'll send me a stack of like different types
Samples.
of woods and different stains, and which is kind of fun, which is crazy. You're looking at a 6-inch, couch, and here you are picking fabric for it and what kind of stain you want to do it, and that's what I meant when I said in the future I will be adding even more to that furniture piece. It's good to have a clean version going out this December and another, just continuing this process and putting out more of like grudged look as far as abandoned house kind of stuff, broken, and stuff like that. Fun.
Well, it's funny you should mention that. So, are you picking accessories with particular sets in mind, or is it something that you think, yeah, that's a good product, people will buy it, or are you sort of specifically choosing things?
Actually that's an amazing question. You hit it right on the nail right there. So now when I started this, at first, putting out furniture was like, okay, this is a no-brainer. Everybody's going to buy it. Let's just put it up and see what happens. Now I'm moving in the direction of, hey, I'm going to be releasing. So now I keep it in my mind, the product that I'm going to be releasing, like, for example, the pop-ups that are coming out in Wave 9, I'm incorporating more of the furniture pieces too that is going to go with it, obviously sold separately, but I'm keeping, like, for example, I'll give you an example. Obviously, this is, I don't want to tell you this, but I'm going to have to, now that we're talking about it. Like a detective office, right? Like a commissioner order, okay? So now you're thinking, what do I want to put out there? What does it really look like? He needs a desk, he needs a lamp, he needs a water station, he needs, billboard, he needs, you start putting your brain into or your mind into that atmosphere, that room, and trying to design it, in other words. So keeping that in mind, moving forward with the products, like you're going to see more and more with the new products coming out, you're going to have your multiple different accessories and furniture pieces that you could incorporate within that room.
Oh, that's awesome. I can't wait for that detective's office. That's going to be insane.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. I can't wait to knock out the furniture too. And, it's going to be awesome.
So in terms of like new stuff and your sort of process, so obviously Tyler and I, we both have creative processes for photography, and no doubt you've got your own like creative process for how you make sets. So what do you sort of get inspired by, or sort of do you have like a feeling that a certain product is something that is a gap in the market, and you think that's a good idea, I'm going to do that, or do you have an idea and then run with it? What sort of the way you think about that?
You know, you should ask my wife this question, and she will answer you really well. She's gonna be like, "Joe is absolutely insane. I cannot stand him. I don't want to see him when he needs to design a new wave." He's like, it's like she knows. The look in my eye is like, you know, I just get into this. I don't want to say depression, but it takes a toll on me, and it affects my behavior and my emotion. And I'm a very emotional guy. Like, you know, I'm a freaking designer. You know, all day long, that's what I do. So I got these bubbles in my head going in and out constantly, ideas, and most of the ideas just as soon as they come in, they go away. You know, with the 4 kids and all the crazy life that I have. But I try to stay in tune. But I mean, coming back to your question, it's hard. It's really hard. I don't exactly know what products are gonna be in the next wave, and I just go with the flow. And I wake up and I'm like, hey, I need to have this. Sometimes, you know, it's crunch time, and I definitely need to produce something. Otherwise, you know, we're wasting time. Sticking on, trying to give yourself a deadline is the most important thing. I try to most of the time, but I mean, going back and forth with China and so many other places, it's hard to really meet that deadline.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah, it's a different world. I mean, dealing with containers, shipping, and oh, man, and all this craziness that is going on in the world right now. You're like, you know, what's happening now? What's happening today? It's like day to day kind of thing.
It's nuts.
But yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's fun. I have a list. I have a long list of ideas. I have folders. You know, I create folders, and I usually just screenshot images that I like, you know, and I put them in that folder. Like, for example, I like this landscape. I like that one, and I like that one. This would be a good building 6.0, you know? And then I go back and I'm like, okay, what's happening in the world right now? What action figures are producing? What's coming out? What's not? Because I'm also, keep in mind, I'm also in the movie industry where I do the movie premieres. So I'm constantly designing the red carpet events. So I get to see what's coming, what's hot, what's not, and just, you know, pushing the envelope as much as I can to produce the correct product. Like, I wish the cabin came out for Halloween this year. You know, this is what I mean when you have to give yourself a deadline, and you better meet it, because, you know, it's gonna transition into something else. Like, for example, imagine the cabin was out, you know, for Halloween. That was gonna be like the most insane thing ever. All the shots would have been in that, you know. But thankfully, we had the Abandoned House 1.5 and the 2.0 that completely killed it this Halloween. It was like, it's almost everything is almost sold out, I want to say. Like, I'm in fear of the holidays right now, because I'm like, dude, there's like not much left.
See, that's good though. So if you guys are listening or watching this, you guys better jump on it, or tell your parents to jump on it and get what's available, because he's coming out with the new stuff soon. But what's up there is what's up there. So clean him out.
we get a lot of emails for the past product. It just, you know, it's so hard to re-release the older stuff and still drop in another 8 to 10 new products, you know. It's just not at that. What happened?
Do you think that you will ever, because they're with the toy companies, sometimes after a few years go by, they release a quote unquote vintage wave, which is like the classics that you remember as a kid. Do you think after a few years go by that you might release a vintage wave extreme sets? Because, I mean, to be honest, and I know that you're going to be humble about that because this is the kind of guy you are, but looking back on it, you have some pretty iconic sets. Because who else has ever made or done a subway station set? Like, no one's ever done that. And you added the stairs to it, and then you also added the first alleyway set. So you have some like all-time iconic stuff that
and the asylum.
The asylum, that there's been some beautiful work on, like, from all of these toy photographers. So I mean, I think that would be pretty cool, like down the line, maybe a vintage set.
Well, I try to. Well, till now, I mean, the Deranged Alley, the one that you brought up, That one, I cannot get away from it. Even
Yeah, it's
People love
amazing.
because it's just the hottest cake out there. It keeps on going. It just keeps on going. And
That's
at
awesome.
times I try to hold myself back. I'm like, I am not reordering this. I'm just not doing it. But it feels like every time I have a container coming, I have to, bring some of those in with it because
Yeah.
it's going so well. But then there's other sets like the subway train. It did well when it first was released, and then it slowed down and it kind of got buried and shuffled and no one cared about it. And now with the Joker movie, everybody wants it. Now I'm almost sold out of that one too.
I
It's
got.
like,
I'm buying it today. That's it.
yeah, I'm being honest. Like, it's just crazy of how whatever happens in the world or the movie industry, and that product becomes the hottest product.
It's like
Which goes,
stocks almost.
yeah, which goes to show no product is a bad product. It's just you need to be patient when it's in style.
Yeah, that deranged alleyway is awesome. At least 2 shots a week I do with that. It's just so good. And Tyler as well. You're always taking pictures of the elevator hallway and the bank. In fact, I think you've used it for everything other than an elevator and a bank. I feel like
Until recently,
it's so versatile. Yeah.
It's funny how you brought up the elevator. I actually had a dream about it last night. I woke up this morning. I'm like, was it real, that dream that I had? I'm like, you know what? I should do another elevator hallway, but like this time, let's do it, in the basement or something.
Yeah.
Coming out, it just make it more different. But I have an angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other. So it's kind of like a battle of, do I go clean cut look of like a hotel, or do I go just disgusting, filthy underground elevator opening up, like the light is twitching, kind of like things like
Well,
that.
with the Joker movie coming out, you
Yeah.
almost got to do a little grunge.
Yeah, right.
But I also, for anyone that hasn't seen the elevator or used the elevator set, the way you design that is ingenious. The way that you're able to take shots inside, outside, and the way that you allow the light to come in and out. I mean, that in
Yeah,
of
but
itself,
in my
$50.
in my head, I'm always thinking it could have been so much better, and that's the problem that I have with me re-putting out this old stuff. It's like when I look back at it, I'm like,
That
well,
makes
we've
sense.
completely come to another road in
Yeah.
producing products. So like, how am I gonna put that out when I'm already in this direction and I've already come this far? If anything, I will produce something that's old and make it newer and add more, bells and whistles to. That's the direction. I always try to change something. Like, for example, the deranged alley. The first one, it was just 6 walls. That's it. The doors didn't open. Nothing. It didn't have a ground panel. It didn't have pillars or columns. I think it had like 2 dumpsters, which were they were terrible.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then when I re-released it like a million times, now it has the 2 columns which hide the seams or add depth to the image, and the doors open. So it's a big change from the first one to the second one. So you just gotta move forward. The wheel keeps on turning.
No, that totally makes sense because and I'm sure you see it too when you get like a thing on Instagram that shows you a flashback from years past.
Mm-hmm.
When I see an old photo of mine, I may have done well at the time, but seeing it, I'm repulsed by it. So that does make sense.
I can relate to that as well. That's so
the
true.
the artist in you, it always wants to get better, even though some people might have fond memories or enjoy something from the past. It's like, the artist in you always finds the bad stuff.
Yeah, well, everything is good, amazing for the time being,
Yeah,
when you
true.
fast
That
forward
is true.
2 years, it's not just like action figures. I mean, action figures look terrible. I mean, look at the Hot Toys 10 years ago, 5 years ago. The faces were not normal, but now they're realistic. Everything changes. Now you have to get a new set of Batmans and all that stuff. But same thing with extreme sets. It just keeps on evolving, and the cardboard is getting better. The images are getting higher, and there's more, clip-ons and pieces and parts, and I can't get away from this cabin that I've done, which is my favorite piece I've ever done. It's unreal. I mean, I just got in my prototype for the 1/18 scale too, and the 1/18 scale fits into the 1/12 scale, so it's actually really, it's funny. But I mean, the doors open, side door, front door, all these windows, the back. But I try to incorporate as much as I can for for the consumer of how the photographer is going to be using it. That's my biggest selling point, and
And
not
you're great at that.
not only putting out a product that's going to look good, but how is it going to help the person shoot it. I mean, if you look at the cabin, for example, the rooftop has two sections. There's the front and the back. They're both removable, which, if you put them both together, you can completely close it off. Looks like a finished product, but you can remove it, clip lights on. It just gives you freedom. It gives you freedom to light it, because I've dealt with a lot of lighting, and sometimes you just can't get that light in that little crack, or, just it makes the texture pop, or something. You blow it up, or, so you need that extra space to remove something in order for you to position and light or your camera.
Now, do you take the photos, the product photos that are on your website?
I do.
I gotta say, man, you take some pretty good photos. Those are really nice.
Yeah, thank you. It's and the funny thing is, I do zero lighting. Like I just have basic room lighting. That's it. I come into the office and I turn on my lights and shoot it, which kind of, it works to my benefit to a certain extent, because some of the pop-ups I also want to incorporate like really dark images, making it look like haunted or a scary moment. But I just cannot get into that. I just let the consumer deal with that. Imagine it.
So in terms of the marketing side, you talked about Amazon, and I'm assuming Big Bad Toy Store are like your main sort of go-to as a partner.
Yeah. The Big Bad Toy Store is a blessing in my life, and they've been there since day one. I love them because they are owned by one person. It's not, it's just like me, So I call, his name is Joel, and I'd be like, hey, Joel, this is this and this is that, and we move forward. It's not, you're not dealing with too many, chefs in the kitchen. This person says this person says that. Send me prototypes. Do that. Get insurance. All this craziness. But I mean, the direction we're going into, I will have to get into that, because I have been in contact with a bunch of other big shots.
I bet
you guys know. So the phone is ringing pretty, a lot. So I just have to make the decision. And
I mean, how could it not? You have like the best advertising in the world. Not only like from toy photographers that love using your stuff, but now you got the Big Bad Toy Store using videos and stuff. It's like, I'm surprised you're not blowing up even more.
Yeah, well, yeah, that just goes to show I don't have time. I don't have. I go through these emotions, and I'm up and down. There's good days, there's bad days, and don't forget, this is not the only company I'm running. Right now I'm doing Doolittle movie premiere, and a whole bunch of other stuff. It just never stops. But at some point, decisions have to be made and taken in terms of taking this company to a complete new level and expanding. To I don't even know. But yeah, the phone conversations are there. The documents are there. I guess I just have to sign on the dotted line.
So one day will we see Extreme Sets come to the UK? Because I really hope we do. Obviously, with tax and postage, it costs a fortune from America, but I so hope we see them come to the UK soon.
I know. That's one of the things. It's there in Germany, Canada, and the list goes on. Australia,
Brazil.
But Brazil is, here and there. I don't have a lot of customers from Brazil, but there are great photographers, a few that are amazing from Brazil. But yeah, mostly, I mean, Germany is known for wrestling. Wrestling is huge in Germany.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do have someone that sells products for me in Germany. It's a store. But I mean, everywhere else, it's tough. I mean, as long as there's a lot of research that needs to be done and getting the product in there, because there's nothing that I could ship to them, by air. It has to go on boat and on ship, and it's a long process. And I don't think I'm at that point yet. A lot of things need to be changed. A lot of things need to be clarified for me to take that direction. But it's coming. It's happening. Everything else is happening. I can't stop it. So I'm not gonna be able to stop that when I'm head on with that road.
Now let's move a little bit away from the world of toy photography and dioramas, because I do want to get your opinion, because you are big in the world of film and you're around that whole entertainment industry. So I wanted to get your opinion on what you thought on Joker. Did you see Joker?
I have not seen Joker.
Oh no!
You
Oh
are
man,
busy.
you've got to
See,
see
folks,
it.
he is
I
not
have not
lying.
seen Joker. I have
He
not
is a busy
seen.
man.
Dude, I haven't seen a movie probably in 3 months. The most screen time I get is when I have my phone open in front of my eyes at night, in bed, watching something, and my wife will take it out of my hand and plug it into the charger because I fall asleep. Uh, and it's been a long road. Not
I don't blame you.
I wish I had some time, to
Yeah.
go see a movie. But it's been rough. But I like it. But things are getting get better. Things are always moving forward. What do you guys think about the Joker? I mean, I saw a lot of reviews that everything
Oh,
seems to be awesome.
it's unreal, man.
Is it really?
It's
That crazy, huh?
it's absolutely unreal. Yeah, I never thought anyone would get close to Heath Ledger, but Phoenix is as good as, if not better than him. He's unreal.
Well, I mean, that's what it is. You got to find an actor that is a little bit out there with,
Absolutely.
with the script.
Yeah.
And
He was
that's
out
how
there.
everything clicks.
Yeah, and Scott only sees maybe 4 movies a year, and he saw Joker twice.
Oh, really?
3 times.
3 times.
Three
Three
times.
times.
No, I'm huge on movies. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I do see movies, but it's mostly in the studios before the movie comes out, just to get an idea of what I'm designing for the red carpet. And that's really rough too, because like usually I don't even have time to go sit in the studio watch the movie. It's more of like, let me just watch the preview and just get as much as I can from it. That's how I did Jurassic World too. I just saw the commercial. And they were like, "There's a lot of volcanoes. There's volcanoes. Volcanoes are erupting." I'm like, "Well, what's going on? Do you want the premiere to look like volcanoes?" And then I'm like, "But this is Jurassic World too. You got to be green mountains and Jurassic. It's an island. It's not volcano." So
Hi.
depression.
That's so. Did you get to see Doolittle then?
I have not seen Dolittle, but I'm basically
Okay.
done designing the premiere right now.
Nice.
It's an island and another island, right? He's traveling, and there's a
That's
lot
funny.
of greenery, and it's good. It's good. At this point in my life, I've done so many of them. It just
Is there
comes
any?
in very fast.
Is there any way that you would? Do you have a personal Instagram, or do you only use Extreme Sets? I think it'd be cool
That's
if
the
you
thing.
gave.
So I've been meaning to start a personal Instagram and put
Okay.
up, it's I cannot separate them from what is it that I really want to do, because I do have a personal, but I just started it. I have like 5 followers, and it's just mostly family. And then I'm like, hey, I don't want to put baby pictures up and family pictures up for people to look at. And then you're like, okay, maybe you should do a JG Design, because that's my other company. Just do a JD Design one, and I think I've had one for a very long time. I just haven't logged into it at all to do anything. But I really want to start something like an artistic Instagram account, which is me, my life a little bit, and mostly my work and stuff like that, like a portfolio, in other words. Of
I would
personal.
love to see that. I'd love to
Yeah.
see the things you create for the premieres. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I tried to pop some in the Extreme Sets news feed or whatever it's called. So because sometimes you're looking at this stuff in front of on my screen. I'm like, this shit is amazing. Like when I did it was like
Yeah.
unreal. Chapter 2, I love.
I remember seeing Warner Brothers photos of that. I can't. That was you.
Yeah, I did It's Chapter 2, which was
That
fucking
is awesome.
unreal. I mean, those came out so amazing. So
Who
I
would have
do
known?
high res rendering. So I designed the entire Premiere in a way of like where you could see the image before you produce it. You get to see all the smoke effects and the lights and all good stuff.
That is so
Sick.
cool. That's you have like two of the best jobs in the world.
Two of the most stressful jobs in the world.
Yeah.
When you have to design, it's not a joke because it's not accounting. You don't have to calculate numbers. You're not a doctor where you're gonna go in there. I don't want to take anything away from doctors, but they already know what their jobs entail.
Yeah.
As far as me, you have to come up with a new idea. coming up with a new idea takes a lot of energy, and there are days that you just don't have ideas, and then you get very hard on yourself. But my wife always tells me, you've been doing this for so many years. Have you been doing well? She's like, yes, you have been doing well. So, I mean, what's going to change? You always come up with something that changes everything. So stop being so you,
You picked the right woman.
Yeah, no, she's great. She's definitely a soulmate.
That is awesome.
Yeah, she tolerates a lot too. It's not easy. But I do a lot too. I call myself the nanny. When I come home, I say, housekeeping is here.
That's now. Can we get any idea of any new stuff coming up as we wrap up? What are the release dates of some of the newest stuff coming up? Because I know that I want to get on it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, so Wave 8 is coming hopefully January. That's when we're hitting first quarter. January, February. That's for sure. And then furniture, about everything that's on the website is coming before the end of this year. Hopefully beginning of December. So we can have it ready for Christmas. There's a lot of pre-orders for the furniture pieces.
Nice.
To dish out to the people. Yeah, they did amazing. I mean, it was. That's the only. I started with the 3 pieces, the 2 for the 2 couch sets in the cabinet, the large closet, and then it just completely multiplied. Especially with these beer. The beer cups are really hot. I mean, they're just going off the shelf. People love.
They look good. What about the water coolers? I think going
the water cooler. Yeah, I just brought that in. See, the vision for that is, was for the detective office. I mean, you gotta have a water cooler in there, especially like old school. Yeah, that's everything is doing well. One by one. It just depends who's looking at it and what they need it for. But I wish I could do more advertisement in terms of doing setups, set everything up and take a few photos of how it would look if you bought this and that and that and that. But I'm just I'm scrambling to find some time to actually breed. So in order for me to set up and shoot, I need more time. But it's happening. Good stuff.
I can't wait. I know that there's definitely going to be a few extreme sets on my Christmas list this year. Scott, any last words for Joe?
Yeah, same here. I'll be definitely getting some very, very soon. I'd like to say. But yeah, loving the new stuff coming out. Even stuff like that was coming out the last time we spoke about the Sector 7 Sewer 2.0. That's brilliant. Yeah, so many cool things that we haven't even talked about that are just freaking awesome. And yeah, even the old stuff like the gas stations, just fantastic.
Yeah, that's probably going to be another thing I get.
Another one that's like going off the shelf out of nowhere, which when it first came out, it was the Cave, right? The Cave was like the hottest seller. And then it just died out completely to a point where like it was like 0 sales of the Cave. Now, past couple of weeks, it's been like Cave. I'm like, I'm almost done with that too. I think I don't even know how many I have. It's just, boxes just disappear in front of your eyes when something is hot. And then when it's not, it's just sitting there, collecting dust. But, it is what it is.
You heard it, folks. If he's getting low on some stuff, so don't sit back and think you can wait. Get that in your shopping cart. But again, I wanna thank Joe for coming on. You already heard he's extremely busy man. He's got a lot going on. He's got 2 jobs. He's got a family of 4, a brand new child. However, his work continues to keep going. He's not getting stale. Just when you think he's thought of everything, he continues to create more ingenious ideas. And we're really looking forward to seeing all these new products not only get released, but I'm really excited to see all the photos that people come up with as they use Joe's Extreme Sets product. And you can see his products at Extreme Sets on Instagram. You could go on YouTube, and if you're a toy fan, you'll be seeing Big Bad Toy commercials where his Extreme Sets are being used. You could look at any toy photography on Instagram, and I would say it's about 50% chance that you'll see Extreme Sets being used in the background. And again, we're just happy that he's a friend of the show and that we get to have the chance to talk to him, pick his brain and nerd out. So, Joe, thank you again for coming on.
Yeah, massive
Oh
thanks,
man,
man.
I'm
Yeah,
so thankful. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate you guys and all the listeners and all the customers and just the whole circle of all the inspiration that I get day to day and all the good emails and good messages I get. Hey, good one, and all the rest of the emails that keep on saying bring this out or bring that out or bring that out, an idea or it's funny because every time someone buys something, I get an email as soon as they get it. Yeah, I opened it. I love it. Can you do this now? Which is like, all right, thanks, appreciate it. Why don't you enjoy that one first?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm blessed. I'm honestly blessed. Thank you, and there's not much else to say. Thank you. We'll just keep on pushing forward.
Well,
yeah. Thank you.
we wish you nothing but continued success, and with the quality of your products, we're sure that that is all that you will receive. And again, this has been DC Figures and Collectibles, where we do what you do too. And instead of worrying about real life houses, we worry about 112 scale and 118 scale. So thank you for listening, and we appreciate all the love and support we get and the continued growth in the listeners and the viewership. So thank you again, and we will have another episode next week.